Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Saturday, good to see you all. Hope you're all looking forward to a brilliant weekend of football. I know I am. I'm preparing for the 12:30 kickoff Southampton United. I wish I could predict a sort of a result in that, but to be honest, it depends if United fancy turning up again. They did for the first time in about 6 months last week, but we'll see. But yeah, this is all about ins and outs at Spurs. We've got, for sure and out, we've got another one that looks really hot. We might have, we've got two that are definitely out, but one is dependent on a replacement. And then potentially a couple in, which I want to get your views and opinions of, because I think one of them can be a little bit controversial. So anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, the 4 pillars, all that jazz. Let me know what you think about these deals, and look, let's jump right in. So, you'll see on the thumbnail, there's me and there's a footballer there, Harry Winks. It looks like he is finally accepting the Sampdoria move. So this came out yesterday from Fabrizio Romano and a few sources in Italy that he's accepted the deal to Sampdoria. There is no obligation or option to buy on it as of right now. It's been described, and I've never heard this term, a dry loan. Didn't realise there was a difference between loans, if they're dry or wet, but hey, there you are. You learn something new every day. Look, it was bound to happen. He's been. There was quite a few sources that sort of talked about people within Spurs saying he's been dragging his feet on a loan move. So clearly he thought he was going to get the starting role at Real Madrid. No, I'm only joking. Before people get the knickers in a twist. Look, it's a good move. I said it was a good move ages ago. Sampdoria are no slouches. Okay, they just drew 0-0 with Juventus last week. So they're a decent team. They actually have done pretty well in the last few years in Serie A. I really don't see the issue here. And plus, because there's no obligation to buy a loan to buy, let's say he absolutely smashes it. That brings his value up a little bit. I know I always said, look, let's try and sell them when their value is at its most. But let's be a bit more positive and say, look, if he does do well, he comes back, maybe his market value goes up a couple of mil, and we manage to move him on. The only downside to this deal is we're paying the majority of his wages. And I think that is more about the club just going, just get him gone. Get him out of the room. Get him out of the way. We need to move on from the deadwoods. And for me, I'll always say he isn't what Spurs needs, okay? Spurs need better quality. And even if he smashed it this season, I can't see him coming back into the team. We've seen it for years. He's had plenty of opportunities. He hasn't really set the world alight. He's had his moments. I'm not going to deny that he hasn't, okay? But it's moments. There's no consistency. So yeah, I'm not gonna be rude about Winks or anything like that. But it's now time, okay? Moving on to another one, and Brian Hill. Just a quick update on Brian Hill. We all know he's going to Valencia on loan. That's obviously to be sort of expected. We're waiting though, because from the main man himself, Romano, again, he said Spurs will let Brian Hill join Valencia on loan once they find a replacement in the market. So this might drag on a few more days. It's one of those bombers, as they call it. Do you want to know who we're getting early before it comes in, like we did with sort of a Perisic or a Richarlison, where you just know who it is and then you wait for it to finally be completed? Or do you want it Basuma, where you had no idea where it was coming? Spurs liked him, but you had no idea we were in for him. And out of the blue, it just, hits Twitter, hits social media, deal's agreed, he's off to his medical in the next couple of days. I love a bit of both. I love to know who we're getting, because you can then start to see how they benefit the team, how they suit the system, and what sort they can bring to the table. But a part of me also just loves the out of the blue deals like Basuma. I didn't see Basuma coming, and if you did, you're a liar. I can tell you that. I loved it because it was out of the blue, and things like that are really exciting, because you go, God, look at this. All right, we're getting him, are we? Right, I didn't realise that was going to happen. So yeah, I don't know who it is. I know we're linked with obviously players. We were linked with Anthony Gordon, but we're not going to pay 60 or 70 million or whatever Chelsea are willing to pay. We're linked with Adama. We were linked with Zaniolo, but he obviously dislocated his shoulder. So do we stay in that race? I tell you what, I don't think we'd be paying 50 million alone with a 50 million option. That's for sure. And Roma thinking they could get the same after a dislocated shoulder. I think they know they can't get that value. And a part of them maybe thinks maybe we should have sold him and got the most value we could have. You know, it's the same with the Antony deal. I don't think Antony will ever reach 90 odd million again. Ajax probably should sell. But yeah, we'll see about that. I don't really know. I don't really know who I'm thinking. I think it'll be someone fairly cheap, if I'm honest, because of a lot of these loan deals, we're not really bringing in a lot of capital. So I'd assume it'll be someone fairly cheap. Maybe it's Adama. You know, he's got 1 year left on his deal. Probably looking at about 10 to 15 million max. Premier League proven. Adds another dimension to the team. I know him and Moura are fairly the same, but Adama is a big brute of a man. You know, he's quick. And maybe in a team where he can get a little bit more time in the final third, maybe he does actually develop and prove to be a good final third player, which I think is something that he's, I want to say missing, but sometimes isn't always on display at Wolves. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm excited by that. I think that'll be one out of the blue. So we'll sort of go from there. This one came out this morning. Again, Romano. I'm going from a Romano to Romano to Romano. And that's one thing I have noticed is, you know, Alistair Gold, Ornstein, a few other people, they're a bit slow at the moment, and Romano is hot on all of the Spurs deals. I don't really get that feeling from the other guys. I think sometimes those guys do play it a bit safe and only do it when they absolutely have 10 sources telling them and things like that. Obviously, I know Alistair Gold's on holiday, so I'll let him off for this one. But on other occasions, he has been slow to the party. So, yeah, Romano said Atletico Madrid have already opened talks to explore Sergio Reguilon deal with Tottenham. He's more than appreciated. It's always nice. Waiting for developments on the Renan Lodi situations. So just an update for that. He is subject of interest from Nottingham Forest because they want to sign a 900th player. It's a loan deal. I think it's like a £5 million loan deal to pay for him for the season. And then there's an option to buy, I think, of like 30 million. So I'd assume Reguilon will go out on loan. It won't be a full purchase, but he'll go out on loan. And I'd expect it to be something quite similar, maybe a few mil for the loan deal and maybe like a £20 million option. Because I think Spurs probably want to get something like 25 mil in total. Something not outrageous, if you know what I mean. So maybe like a £3 million loan deal with a £22 million deal option. I think that's probably fair on everyone. And also, we absolutely know they have the money to pay for his wages. So if they want him, we shouldn't be sitting there going, oh yeah, we'll pay half his wages, even though you still really want him and you really like him. So, but yeah, it looks like that is the fourth of the four that weren't really wanted. Looks like he's going to be out of the door as well quite soon, dependent on the Renan Lodi deal and how quickly that can move, which, knowing Forest, it's going to be done really soon if they can get the deal done with Renan Lodi wanting to come. So there's that. Now there's one little fun one I'm going to tell you about with an incoming, and then I want to talk about the two that I was really going to talk about. So Tottenham have agreed listen to how much money we're spending here. God, I don't know where we're getting the funds for this. Tottenham have agreed a £2 million deal with Sheffield United to sign highly rated 17-year-old striker Will Lancashire. So there you are, massive pull. Spurs are huge. Look, I don't really know a lot about him, but I assume he'd go into the academy, maybe under 18s, maybe even the under 23s, and then I'd assume kind of like a Dane Scarlett, he'd end up on loan, like a Parrot, on loan for a few years, and then we'll sort of go from there. So 2 million, it's worth a punt in my humble opinion. But the two that I was really going to talk about, and this came from Football London. Now, if you don't really know Football London, okay, that's the company that Alistair Gold works for. So very reputable, great sourcing, great journalism. So this came out, and I was interested in this because there was rumours that we were in for Trevor Chalobah, the centre half from Chelsea on loan, because obviously we have a homegrown situation where we do need to bring some in with getting rid of the players that we aren't going to use, you know, Brian Hill, for example. But if we're going to let a Tanganga go and a Winks go, that does obviously impact the homegrown situation and academy developed situation. At least Chalobah would bring in the homegrown for this season. So it'd be a loan deal. There would be no option or obligation to buy, because I don't think Chelsea really want to let him go to Spurs, because if he hits the ground running, let's say he was really good at Spurs, they're going to want him back. They don't want to make another Tomori problem situation, because Tomori is smashing at AC Milan. And I want to say this now, before the certain World Cup in the winter, he is England's best centre half. He should be starting. And if Gareth Southgate wants to stop falling in love with Harry Maguire's big forehead, he'll notice that. Okay. Now, and it was a double swoop, this move, by the way. And I'm going to talk about it all in one go. It's a double swoop. So obviously Trevor Chalobah being one and Hakim Ziyech being the other. Now, Ziyech is really linked with Ajax. Obviously, Ajax probably want to get him in before letting Anthony go, because if not, Chelsea are going to make them pay through the nose because they know they've got the money from not just the Anthony sale, but the Haller sale. They're letting Tagliafico go. Martinez they sold. They have pulled in probably about 250, 300 million this summer. Everyone knows they have money, okay? They cleared a lot of the wages. This is what they were, when Bergwijn was linked with them, they were battling us for a few million. And we were like, look, you've just made 150 million so far this summer. We know you've got the few million. Pay up the money that this man is worth. And Bergwijn was like, I want to go, sort of, not crying about it, but making a big deal. And we said, look, we are happy for you to go. There's no problems there. What we want is a fair return. And the club that you really desperately want to go to aren't doing it right now. So until they stump up the cash, you're not going. Then they realise Tottenham are going to play hardball, because Ajax are playing hardball with everyone else in Europe, seems so, especially United, who are there absolutely rinsing. They finally stumped up the cash. So that was that. But yeah, Hakim Ziyech and Trevor Chalobah, they sort of went on and said, look, in terms of market value, they're worth no more than 70 million together, okay? I like both of them. I'm not going to say that I don't. Is Ziyech the player that we need? I don't know. I would really like a winger to be left-footed, so we have that option with Kulusevski, okay? Look, if Ziyech was quite cheap, maybe, but if they're going to ask for sort of 30 million-ish, I'm going to say not worth it, in my own opinion. He's 29 as well. I'd like someone a little bit younger personally, who are coming into their prime and not sort of halfway through, 3/4 of the way through his prime. He is a talented player. He's got a lot of ability, and I was speaking to someone about this, and they said, look, should we be taking, not deadwood, I wouldn't say deadwood from Chelsea, but should we be taking players that they really happily let go? And I said, well, fair enough. The other thing is they do need to sell a few players, and that's why Ziyech is something that they want to move on no matter where they move him to. And the other topic conversation was Trevor Chalobah, and they said, why would we get him on loan? Why don't we just keep Tanganga? And I did think there wasn't too much between them, if I'm honest opinion, in like ability-wise. I think Chalobah is definitely better, but I wouldn't say he's levels clear of Tanganga, okay? The thing with this deal is we obviously want to bring in money for Tanganga. Now, is it worth that loan deal with an obligation to buy for 20 million or however much it is, in and around that figure, just to let a loan in for one season, Trevor Chalobah? We're still going to need to bring in a homegrown next summer. We will have to. I don't know. 70 million for the both of them. You could probably see if you can squeeze it down a little bit, because I know Chelsea are really hopeful of bringing in some money, because obviously they're getting Fofana, they're looking at Gordon, they've looked at Sterling, they've looked at Koulibaly, Cucurella. They're going to spend a lot of money, so they need to move a few players on. I know financial fair play in other sort of years, they haven't spent a lot because obviously they had that transfer embargo. But at the same time, they still need to clear a few players off the wage bill and things like that, as alongside the Rudiger and the Christensens and then Alonso, who's going to go. When you've got Koulibaly and Sterling on 600k a week together, yes, Rudiger might save you a couple $100,000. Yes, Alonso might save you $100,000. Yes, Christensen might save you $100,000. But you still are going to need to move other players off because you brought in Cucurella. You've brought in other players, okay? So we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm not sure they're the players for us, in my humble opinion, okay? I wouldn't say no to them, but the deal has to be right. And that's the important thing. I don't want us to overspend just because Chelsea are overspending, just because United are overspending. We've done some really shrewd business this summer, and I want to keep that going. We have money to spend still. We all know that. We had 150 million from ENIC. We had Champions League revenue. We had Premier League revenue. We had Cup revenue. We have players going out on loan that we're saving wages on as well. All these things add up. There is still money in the piggy bank to spend, but I don't want us spending 80, 90, 100 million on these two players. Not at all. I'd rather go and get, a Chalobah is great, but something like that on loan or buying for fairly cheap to come in, learn behind the Romeros and the Dyers and the Longleys and the Davies and the Sanchez's, and maybe a winger as well, which has got explosive talent. Dharma's really not a bad option for me. I do think he gives a lot. The only thing is, I know they think about putting wingers at right wing back and left wing back. We've got 3 right wing backs already. And looking at this video that I saw of Spence going forward, the guy can beat a player for sure. So, I don't know. But let me know what you think, guys. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think Chalobah and Ziyech is the right way to go? If not, who do you go for? Because we need to bring in a winger and we may need to bring a centre-half in before the end of the window. So, Paratici, go and cook. I'm happy to see what you've got. Anyway, guys, that's enough from me. Enjoy your weekend. Like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all that jazz. And I'll see you all very soon. Take care, lads.